I keep seeing Hannah in the corner, like making a face, and I'll be like,
No, it's just the Nicki Minaj hot topic shirt.
it was a black t-shirt, a black and white picture of Nicki, like her head cut out.
Okay.
And of course the breastises. But then like her lips were pink. And then it literally just said in like impact font, Nicki Minaj.
Welcome everybody. We are here with John Nava. Do you have a middle name? You have a middle name.
Carlos.
Carlos. Do you want to know? Do you want to tell your middle name?
That's fine.
It's fine. That's fine. So we're here because you have a magazine coming out in just a short bit of time. And I want to take a chance to tell you guys his relationship with art and fashion growing up and everything that led him to this, I would say, monumental projects. It's a very big, you're going to remember this for the rest of your life as like a big thing that you accomplished.
Yeah.
So we can start from the beginning. Tell us a quick recap of your life, where you were born, you know, the sort of stuff you did as a kid, in relation to art and fashion, just your journey up until, I guess, you started working on stuff, the big stuff. So just a quick recap.
Got you. So I was born here in Houston.
Represent.
I think, I don't know the hospital. I think it was St. Joseph's or something.
Gotcha.
So as far as I can remember, I've been drawing. Like, from when I was a kid who could pick up a pencil to, you good there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Just like someone like I could get like a scrappy piece of paper, draw. There's a memory of me at my tia's house, and she was obsessed with M&Ms, and so she had an M&M clock that I was like drawing freehand, and she was like, "Did you draw this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I mean,
impressive.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But and then at school there was a lot of people who drew, so I felt like, what is it? It had always been around, right? And then in high school, when I started getting into like brands like Us Versus Them and Obey and the Hundreds, that's when I started to come up with like my own type of brands, and I just write it. Oh, and Odd Future.
Yeah.
That's when I'd like come up with my own fake brands. I came up with this one called Lambs and Lions, and so it was like.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah.
Just like, okay, the lambs were the strong ones instead of the lions.
That
was like the idea there.
And then that's a biblical reference, or is that just a general literary reference?
Whatever it was, that's what.
But it's a good it's a good thing.
I don't know, because I always felt like the underdog. I guess that's probably where I came from. But so drew there, and then when I got into college, I was focused on living a college life. I kind of left the art stuff behind. Okay, I met you, and then you helped me out with the big project, which was the mayor video with the wings.
Oh, I forgot about that.
How'd you forget about that?
I don't know how I forgot about it. Yeah.
So basically, what happened is in entrepreneurship class, we had to make a video that's like make a YouTube video go viral. So if you got like 1,000 views, you get an A. And our group, we came up with the idea.
A very ambitious idea.
Well, yeah, it was pretty. Okay, so what happened was, I was like, oh, you know what we should do? We should make a fake trailer for like a reboot. And I was thinking like, oh, we could do a reboot for Rebelde. Like, cause I don't know, that was just the first idea.
Yeah.
And then one of my group members, Yulissa, she was like, what if we interviewed the mayor? Like, his re-election is coming up. We should interview him. And then I was like, nah. I was like,
too ambitious.
I was just like, why did it?
Up. You did it.
So, right, like I was like, no, that's like, why the hell would he do that? Some random people, some random college kids. And then that's when I was watching Hot Ones, and I was like, it'd be cool to do the Hot Ones with Mayor Turner, because he's not going to be on Hot Ones.
No.
So like, let's do it with him. And that's when we sent all the details to his assistant, and we got the email like, he can do it. And that was a pretty cool moment.
Lesson here is shoot your shot. What's the worst that's going to happen? You get an email saying no, or you can get an interview with the mayor. That was pretty sick.
It was fun.
My favorite part was there was a bunch of leftover wings because Pluckers sponsored it. That was another aspect to it. He got Pluckers to sponsor it. There was a bunch of leftover wings. So after the video was done, I was shoving them down my throat.
Yeah. No, but it was funny because I actually forgot all about that. But we were trying to email Bauer, that's the business college at UH, to be like, hey, the dean needs to know that Mayor Turner's coming to campus.
Yeah.
And like they did not believe us. I was on the phone with like 3 people. They go, so you said the mayor's coming? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, or they go, you know, for what? And I go, to eat hot wings and to be in an interview for an entrepreneurship project. And I go, right, okay. And so like,
hangs up on you.
and then the dean came, you know, they met or whatever.
Gotcha.
But
Dude, I remember when the black trucks pulled up.
Yeah.
Like there was no roads. They literally just pulled up to the building. They like rode on to the the side
to campus.
side. Yeah, it was
because they were trying to. Oh, the parking was a different thing, but like, yeah.
No, they pulled their
up.
SUVs up right to in front of the building, and there was no roads there because that's where all the students walk. I remember walking up and seeing all that. I was like, that's crazy.
That was pretty.
It was pretty cool.
I think the best part about that project was obviously interviewing him, because everyone in my group, they were kind of just like, well, you know, we don't want to interview him. Go ahead. And so, talking to him, I had like these thought out questions. Like how his mom worked for the Rice Hotel, kind of.
Which is where we actually are right now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
And then, yeah, just it was a good time. And then he was like, "Oh, you know, I had a good time talking to you," and that was a validating thing, because I was like trying to put on my best Nardwuar, my best Sean Evans impression.
No, he did a really good job interviewing you.
Thank you. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I want to backtrack real quick. Back to your childhood, back to your teenage years. Yeah. You talked about art and drawing, but I know fashion is also a very big part of your life. Every artistic thing you're doing now stems from fashion. I want to talk about your fashion journey. When did you first start, being conscious of how you dress? Where did you first, start shopping? Like, did you start thrifting right away, or were you going to the mall and going to Forever 21 and just talk about that.
So, like, as far as I can remember, I just always wanted to be different.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But even before I was conscious of, like, what I wanted to wear, I was more conscious of what other people were wearing. So in middle school, everyone was making big deals about the newest Jordans, about, like, that sort of thing. And then that's when I started paying attention to what other kids were wearing.
In an effort to be different from them, or to...
Okay, so the different part, like, that was
later?
That's a separate thing.
Oh.
But, like, in middle school, I mean, that's when everyone starts to pay attention to what people are wearing. You have, like, the booby bracelets, and, like, I had some YMCMB, like, the Drake fucking bracelets, just to stand out, right?
Yeah.
But that's when I started taking interest in it, to kicks. And so we went... I noticed, like, a lot of the cholos were wearing mid-top Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to be like them. So I was like, Mom, I want some Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
We go to the Pulga, and then I see some for like $20.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, can I get some?
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, sure, $20.
$20, yeah.
And I didn't even realize until afterwards they're fake as shit.
Yeah, of course.
Super fugazi, like the stars on the front and the toes were like rubbing off. And like you could, it creased so easily.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even think there were fake Air Force Ones. Like that existed.
Yeah.
And so like I was self-conscious about that.
Yeah. Now everybody's gone through. Everyone's had that stage.
Some
where they get a fake jersey, a fake shoe, a fake something, and they try to pass it off. The FUBU effect. Everyone tries to do that, and then they quickly realize they're getting clowned. So it's an important pillar in the fashion journey.
No one clowned me. I think it was
really?
Like. Because no one really cared if they were fake Air Force Ones, right? I think it's more obvious if it's like a 4-stripe Adidas.
Yeah.
But...
Then you got lucky. I got clowned.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good. It was, again, necessary.
Got you. But, like, it was more me. That was like,
a subconscious thing.
I'm wearing fake. So. But, so then we get into high school, and, like, after my interest in what I'm wearing on my feet grew, then that's when, like, I wanted to wear stuff that really, like, set me apart. And I liked the
So when was that
feeling-
again?
High school.
High school.
So, like, first day, obviously everyone's first day high school fit
First day fit
is going to be, like, the fucking, what they really want to wear.
They really want to show out.
and of course it's gonna be of the times. So what I was wearing, and I also want to be different.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Nicki Minaj Hot Topic T-shirt. Just straight up says Nicki Minaj or whatever the fuck. And then I'm wearing some like cargo black and white camo shorts. And then I'm wearing some like black and gray Van moccasins. I don't know. I thought
that was the early 2010s, the swag era. So we're making fun of it now, but that was probably hard as shit back then.
Yeah, but like also at the same time, I knew no guy, no straight like
was wearing a Nicki Minaj shirt.
Straight guys trying to like wear that.
Yeah.
So I was like, always felt different.
Yeah.
And so that was like that. You know, the beginning of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then later on I'd wear like fucking button-ups with bow ties and short shorts, and you know, I had Vans too. So I mean, everyone was wearing Vans back then, but like when everyone was wearing the Nike Roshe Runs, I was wearing New Balance. I was wearing Saucony, like Saucony Jazzes, and then like one other kid was wearing that. But yeah, it was just all in an effort to stand out. I don't know where that comes from. That's probably coming from like, you know, some type of insecurity or some type of whatever.
Childhood trauma, yeah.
But I think no drama.
Oh my bad. Too deep.
Whatever it is.
I'm projecting right now.
No, you're good. But it's like, you know, wherever it comes from, that's always what I wanted to emulate. It's just like, oh, John's wearing something different.
Yeah, notice.
Like I'd wear my grandpa's old workwear button-ups. You know what I mean? And there would be oversized.
Dude, you were doing that like 10 years before it was a huge trend. That's crazy.
And then like, you know, in college, again, with the art, that fell off. The same thing kind of happened with the fashion.
For you, maybe, but I will tell you right now, I would always, like, whenever I would mention to my other friends, so John and I were bigs and littles in student org, and you already served your time, you were president, all that stuff, so you didn't really come out to events much, only to my stuff to support me. So then when I would talk to everybody else, I'd be like, hey, so John, they're like, which John is that? Is that the one that dresses good? I swear to God, that's how people would remember you, the one that dresses well. And I'd be like, yeah, that one.
Well, that's flattering.
Yeah, no.
Well, because what I mean by that is like, the effort was like less until what I started wearing. It was more just like my mindset. I was still learning about fashion in my mind, and I still am. It's like
but you still stood out. Even when you were trying to be low-key or like not as much attention, I just want to say you still stood out. I don't know if I ever told you that, but that's literally, whenever I would be like, oh, John, my big, like, which John is that? The one that dresses well? I was like, yeah, that one.
I tried. But I think like after that, it was just like, instead of trying to stand out, after college, of course, COVID happened. Everyone had their crisis of like mental health and all that. But then I just started evolving a little bit more into like, you know what, I just want to wear what I like. I don't want to wear, sometimes I do want to wear stuff for a reaction, for the validation, but now I just want to wear something that I like truly
feel good,
100% fuck with just myself. And that's what I want people to do in Houston, is dress like they don't care about other people's opinions. The only like opinion that matters is their own.
So speaking of fashion in Houston, let's step away from, you know, growing up and get back into your project. So you mentioned the interview with the mayor. That was your first one. Your next big one, I'll let you take it away.
Was it are we talking about the documentary?
Of course.
Okay. No, so that happened after COVID started, and like I was a little worried to go outside and do stuff, but like I needed to go out at least once or twice a month or something. And so I started going to Bounce Back, Full Court caught my attention. No agenda in mind, just going because like I thrifted a couple of times in high school thanks to my sister, my mom, and other friends. Like we'd go thrifting like just for the activity, right? Because what else do you do in Houston on the weekends? But so I knew of thrifting, of course, and I thrifted a couple of stuff, but like nothing in terms of reselling did I know about, except for Paul Cantu. I discovered his videos watching dorm room tours as a like incoming freshman at UH. And so I found out about thrift reselling through him, but I didn't realize there was a whole ecosystem to it until probably 2021. And that's when I started talking to Luke at Full Court, a little bit to, I'm trying to think who, Dalton, United States Vintage Service, that's the guy with the
van.
Yeah, he's cool. And so I'm starting to chop it up with him one day.
Yeah.
And like I'm talking to him like a friend. Like,
Yeah,
what do you think about the vintage scene in Houston? He's like, I mean, it's big, man. Like he's got like the stoner voice. I was like, oh
yeah.
And he's just telling me like it's ultra like saturated now. Like everywhere is like there's hella markets, there's hella vintage everywhere, sellers like at an all-time high. And just like at that point in time, you could go to any market and it's gonna be packed.
Yeah.
Hip hop vintage flea market, like I went to one and it was stupid packed.
Yeah.
So what happened? So after that conversation, I'm thinking like, man, I should make a video about the vintage community. Like just like a short video. I should go to a bounce back.
Short.
So I should go to a bounce back $5 sale and interview people in line and talk about like vintage or why they're there for the day. And then I had the question in my head: has anyone like made a long ass video about this, like kind of explaining the history of Houston vintage?
Yeah.
And so I go online and all I can find are these videos of Shoe Crew TV. Shoe Crew TV has been making videos about sneaker resellers, vintage resellers for like a couple of years now. And he's the only one who's interviewed people like Bounce Back, Roundhouse, like back in maybe pre-COVID era. And so then I decided there's no documentary trying to explain the story of how vintage became so big. Because again, at that point, to me, an outsider, it looked huge. It looked like there was like
so many people.
It was just like the peak of it.
Yeah.
So I decided, hey, why don't I make a documentary about it? Why don't I tell the story, at least try to tell the story about how big like vintage became in Houston to this day. And so I reached out to a friend from high school, shout out to Michael, and he like connected me with Kevin, who's a super like awesome, cool cinematographer. And then we just started interviewing people. And so we interviewed, I think 6 at first, and then we added hip hop vintage, then we added, I'm trying to think who. We added a couple more people.
Quite a few people, yeah.
And so we ended up with 8 interviews. And
all big players in the Houston thrifting scene.
Yeah.
All that were part of the culture. Huge impacts, huge, inventory and all that. Yeah. Yeah,
and so that was like, don't get me wrong, it was a fun experience. But by the end of it, I was like, holy crap! Like, why did I start this?
It was serious, and that's one thing I really like about you. And I don't know if I've told you this either, but you get these ideas, but you also follow through. You actually do it, and not only do you start recording and do these interviews, you edit them and you get them out. Not only do you do that, you market it and you throw a party. Every step of the way to create like a successful thing, you follow through, and I really respect that about you.
Thank you.
Because a lot of people have great ideas, do nothing about it. A lot of people have great ideas, start it, never finish it. They'll finish it and then never market it. You do everything. It's very respectful, yeah.
Appreciate that. I mean, not to like down those people.
No,
either,
not at all.
Like,
yeah.
To do all that is a difficult thing, and it's like
very difficult. Yeah.
You gotta go through lots of barriers and challenges. The main challenge being yourself. Like, you can attest to this, that many times making that documentary, it was such a drag.
It was.
It was such a like long haul of a project that the most ambitious thing I'd done to that point, that took months of effort. That took the shoots, the reshoots.
How long was it totally? From when you first had the idea, where you were set that you were going to do it, to when it released? Because it took a while. Over a year?
It was like June, or no. It was probably like, late May, early June of 2022, and then March of 2023.
Okay, so just under a year.
Yeah.
And that was, yeah.
So, yeah, it took a lot of shoots, a lot of reshoots, scheduling, and then the biggest part of it was the editing. And that's when I'd come to you and be like, I have this problem in Premiere Pro, I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And then...
Just a lot of frustrations, but you...
With the audio, too.
The audio, footage,
yeah.
needing to do reshoots, promo. There's a lot of frustrations, and
for sure.
You powered through, and you got it out, and you created a beautiful project.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So we've talked about the mayor interview, we've talked about the doc. Talk about the new thing.
So the new thing is a magazine.
Yes.
Doing a city lifestyle magazine based here in Houston.
Yep.
That came from the idea of doing a photo shoot. So that idea was to do like a Gorp wear photo shoot and do it like, you know, in the forest and have styled these cool like looks of a mixture of Gorp and like Americana.
Yeah.
But so I reached out to a photographer and I reached out to a couple people about the prospect of a magazine after that. Because I was like, the idea of the photo shoot was to be for a magazine cover. But then I was like, you know what? What if I just did a magazine?
Bro, that leap. That is impressive.
It's okay, but it comes from something like further back.
Okay.
So, you know, I have a love for magazines that is not like a huge thing. It's not something that like made me like, it's not something that's like 90% of who I am.
Yeah.
It's something that like it is special to me. Like growing up reading Game Informer, reading WWE Kids magazine, what is it? J14, those pop magazines about like the Disney and Nick stars.
Yeah.
Tiger Beat. But then I discovered the magazine Popeye, which is a Japanese magazine book.
Yeah.
As an adult, seeing that type of magazine, like, felt like it was for me. From the photography, to the design, to the editorial, to the fashion.
Yeah.
It was like romanticizing city life, and that kind of awoke something in me that like, okay, that's really what I want to do. That's really what I want to make. And then I was always telling myself, I want to make a magazine like Popeye. But then when I had that idea about, oh, this cool photo shoot, I decided instead of trying to make a magazine, like trying so hard to make a magazine like Popeye, why don't I just make a Popeye?
Yeah.
And that's when I started the idea for Ranband. And so it started off as a Ranband, or as a Popeye clone, but with my own twists and turns added to it. Yeah. So, yeah, that's how the idea came about.
All right, and then what are the steps you've taken since then to start the project?
I mean, so I tried to make a team.
Yep.
That didn't work out, but it's all good now.
Yeah.
With those people. But after that, that's when I realized, okay, just need to do the same thing I did with the documentary. Get people booked for interviews / photo shoots. Then after I get all that content, put it in InDesign and start editing.
Yep.
And again, just like the documentary, the longest part was the editing. The editing and designing took the longest. It was probably 70-30% of the effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
70 being the editing, 30% being the scheduling.
You gotta really have a clear focus on what you want. Otherwise, you could really easily give up. You're like, I'm putting in so much effort and I'm not even close to being done. Why don't I just give up? But you had an idea, you executed it, you got it done.
Yeah. About the editing process, it's like the reason it took so long is because I needed to take those breaks. Because if I didn't, you know, I wasn't going to be happy with the product that I created, and I wasn't going to be just satisfied. Yeah, and also I was going to drive myself crazy.
Exactly, you would get burnt out, start cutting corners, start speeding through it just to get it done. Yeah. So taking those breaks helped you, you know, space it out so you could focus on it rather than just, oh, I just want to get it done, I just want to get it done.
Yeah, the endurance of it is the hardest part. And it's like, I had that determination throughout, but of course it like waned and grew and went back down. So the thing I kept telling myself is, or asked myself, you know, how do you eat an elephant? And you eat it one bite at a time.
Yeah.
So, like, I kept just eating a bite every single day, like any small thing I could do. But then, like, you kind of forget what you're doing. And you keep looking at the same spreads over and over again, and you're like, you know, am I even making any progress?
Yeah.
But then you'll have your circle around you to remind you, no, like this looks really good.
But I totally understand, because you stare at it for so long that your eyes just start almost going numb to it. And you make your progress, but you can't quantify it. But when people outside of the workflow see, okay, you were here, now suddenly you're here, that's progress. Whereas for you, it's like, you know, small. You can't see it. So it's really nice being able to show someone like, hey, this is what I've made, not feeling great about it, and they go, whoa, you've done a lot, and this is great. It boosts you back into, all right, let's get back into it. I've been there, and I totally understand it. How difficult was it to approach people and ask them cold open, you know, can I take pictures of you? Can I interview you? Because I was there for when we were doing street photography, and we were literally approaching strangers just being like, hey, can we take some pictures of you? How you know, like reaching out to the models on Instagram or in person. Talk us through that process. Did you face any anxiety? Did you, how did you overcome that? Talk to us.
So short answer, not really. For the documentary, it was just like, if they say no, like it's fine because they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And then, luckily, the people who were not down for it, they just didn't respond. So I didn't face anything like that.
Any rejection?
Yeah, and then with the models for the magazine, most of them I knew. Some people, you know, they weren't down, and you can tell. I did face a couple no's.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just kind of took it as like, okay, the people who want to be in it, they're going to be down, they're going to be excited for it, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, it just came natural. Like, I'm just going to ask. And I'm going to throw something in there into the universe, and if, you know, whatever's meant to be is meant to be.
Gotcha.
And then if I really was set on somebody, it's going to be like, okay, well, you know, maybe there's another photo shoot we can do with someone else that's going to be even better.
Gotcha. So tell us about moving forward. You finished the magazine.
Yeah.
What are we expecting to see next?
So next is the flyer. By the time this comes out, the flyer will have been out for the launch party. We're going to have a launch party at Union Station Vintage on Harrisburg Blvd. I'm blanking on that. I think it's 6729.
The details will be on the flyer and in the description and on social media, so.
yeah. And then we're going to have Ice House Radio play there. We're going to have Based Burgers there. And it's going to be a good time. Music, food, drinks, and we're going to have some of my zines there alongside the big Rand Band issue.
Yep.
So
I forgot to ask you this. How many pages is it? I know, but I want you to flex it.
it's like 122, something like that. So
That's sick. Sick, dude.
it did not come without its like struggles.
Of course, but sweat, blood, and tears just adds flavor.
Let's go with that one.
Dude, I came up with that on the spot. That's a quote.
I believe that.
Is it so bad?
No.
I'm joking. So do you have any last words, any advice that you want to give to other people, young creatives, or old creatives who want to get into it? What do you want to say to them?
I'll say make shit that's cool to you and cool to you only. In my journey, my process as a designer, creator, or whatever the hell you want to call me, is just that the shit that I find cool is stuff that is so niche. It's so, like, it doesn't even have to relate to me. If I feel an artist or a creator has put their, like, genuine experience into something, and it's like I don't know anything about that experience or story, I'm gonna want to learn about it. And so I would say, don't make something that's for the masses, make something for you. And, like, just don't worry about if people are going to fuck with it or not. Because the documentary, I mean, I still do feel that way. Like, okay, I hope people mess with the design and the photography and everything. But at the end of the day, like, the people who are going to mess with it they're fucking with you. They're
the people
like
you want.
Yeah, they're the audience that you care about most. So don't
Yeah.
worry about
Yeah.
who doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah. Because if you create stuff for other people, you're not creating art, you're creating a product. And ultimately, is that what you care about? Do you care about creating products, or do you care about creating art?
Yeah.
I guess you gotta make that decision first. If all you care about is making money and creating products, then yeah, pander to people. But if you care about getting your creative vision out there, worry about what you want to put out.
Yeah, it's just the soul. Like, don't let what you create lack soul.
Yeah.
Like, make something that's gonna make you feel happy and proud, and
Yep.
just keep on living a life. It's not gonna live a life if on its own if it is just made for
The trend, the now, the masses.
for sure.
Alright. Well, I appreciate you coming out, man.
Alright.
I will see everybody on June 29th, and bye. I suck at acronyms.